I'm Kimberly Gannow, Executive Director and founder of Alabaster House. For several decades, we've been serving government leaders and their families. I hope you enjoy today's interview. Okay, we are so delighted to welcome with us Ford Taylor. We have an incredible leadership summit coming up on Capitol Hill, September 10th and 11th. And we've asked Ford to be one of our leaders to really unpack what it means to be leading in times of crisis. Ford, thanks so much for being here with us.
Hi, Kimberly. It's an honor to be with you, and it's an honor to be invited to speak at your conference. And I'm excited about what you're doing and the way you're doing it and the impact that hopefully we can have on the people that come to help them to know how to better lead in a time of crisis. So thank you for including me.
Absolutely. I'm so just encouraged because you've had such a wealth of experience leading with a number of different companies, from small range to Fortune 500 companies, just really counseling them at perhaps even a time of crisis. Is there something that comes to mind that you're thinking about? Perhaps some tactics, things you might like to share, just a small snippet or two to just go ahead and give at this time.
Yeah. Well, Kimberly, my first career, if you want to call it that, uh, basically bought turnarounds. I mean, I would go into companies that had one foot in the door of bankruptcy. So they were in crisis. And if they weren't in crisis, we pretty much didn't buy them. Okay. So that is the kind of companies that we look for. And, then go in, put the processes and systems in place to fix that, then go buy another one, put a team in place. So that's been my background in history. In this newer career for the last 25 years, still doing that, but not buying the companies, doing that, helping other companies that might be either in crisis or just want to grow. And also been fortunate, if you will, based on some of my history of some of the failures I've had personally, to be able to also do that with, marriages and families that are in crisis. So it could be schools, businesses, but I know we're focusing on business and government at this conference. And so I think what I would share with you is that most of the time when an organization is in crisis, and I call an organization anytime two or more people are in relationship. So a business is an organization, but we found that almost every time they're in crisis, there are nine common constraints that really have gone across all the different spheres of influence organization. But in business, they're easier to see because if you keep those constraints in place, then the organization can stay in crisis. And so what we've tried to do is go in and help those organizations remove those constraints. And so my thought is in Washington is that we might pick a couple of those constraints and show people the practical implementable tools on how to overcome those particular constraints. One of the biggest ones in organizations is the ability to resolve conflict. They just have never been taught. And if people saw the stats on the difference it would make in being able to solve conflict, the stats on what gossip causes within an organization, I think if we show them some of that and give them a practical implementable tool of how to do it and how to implement it in their business, they'll see a lot of symptoms of that constraint go away because they'll have the ability to resolve it and teach their people how to resolve it. So that's one of my thoughts on what we might talk about there.
I love it because any practical tools that a business owner, an entrepreneur, those that are in the industry can take away from this conference and implement right away is exactly what we're looking for. So I'm so excited to have you a part of this, Ford. It's going to be amazing. And talk to us a little bit about, I know you have one book in particular that I've been reading, the Relational Leadership. And of course, this is a word that you really combined and it has a lot of great meaning and implementation that business leaders can focus on. So tell us a little bit about that as well, if you would.
Well, we have these nine continuums, if you will, that can cause conflict. And again, think of it this way. They're not right or wrong. They're not good or bad. They're more or less, and they're just are. And one of those, as you just shared, is this term that I actually trademarked years ago called relational leadership. And so on this continuum, I call it the relationship continuum. On one end, we have people who are highly relational. The most important part of their day is who they get to be with. They love to tell stories. in a conflict, they're gonna default to being sure the relationship's okay. You know, they want to chit chat a little bit before the work begins. And on the other end of the continuum, we have what I call highly transactional people, task oriented. The most important part of their day is getting everything checked off the list. Okay. Now they're going to prioritize in a conflict getting the transaction done. It's hard for them to focus on the relationship if the transaction's not going well. And on the other end, it's hard to focus on the transaction if the relationship's not good. And
Mhm.
they don't mind on the transactional end chit-chatting. They just want to do it after the work's done. And
Mhm.
so relational people will walk into a transactional person's office and just start telling a story, just start talking, and that drives them crazy. And so we show people, how to meet in the middle. How do we help transactional people be more relational without giving up their natural bent to get things done? And then show relational people how to be more transactional without giving up their natural bent to be relational. And when those two types of people can sit around the table and work together and not drive each other crazy, in other words, acknowledge that's the reality, because if everybody around the table was relational, nothing would get done.
Right.
If everybody was 100% transactional, everybody would quit. And so we need that blend around the table. But often, even when we do conferences and we ask people, if you're married and you're highly relational, raise one of your hands and keep it up. If your spouse is highly transactional, raise your other hand. And then we do it the other way. And I've never seen less than 85% of the room have both hands up. And often it's 100% in the room. And again, not right or wrong, not good or bad. And around every table, we need relational and transactional people. And if we could teach people how to work together in that format, then we reduce the conflict. But if it causes conflict and we have a tool on how to resolve it, then we can slowly move down that path of getting more relational leaders in our organization that still have their natural bent, but they
Mhm.
end up honoring and respecting one another. Productivity goes up.
Right. I love it. So some real practical tools really forged in the realm of relationships, and then identifying perhaps if you're doing business with someone, to actually know how they're wired and what their background is, how they think. Are they more relational? Are they more transactional? So great tips as well. I know that we're going to be bringing together leaders in business, ministry, and government for this summit. And we're super excited about the blend that's going to be there. I think there's going to be something for everyone. Again, obviously, you'll be bringing a number of practical points. We'll also have members of Congress that'll be coming, and we'll have an opportunity for strategic roundtables. So there's going to be a neat, I want to say, give and take there. Talk about a little bit about maybe the discussion that you might see around some of the tables as we're here at the summit.
Yeah, Kimberly, one of the things I love about what you've put together for this particular summit, it's not all talking heads. It's just not all people like me up there just chattering away, that you're actually bringing people that hopefully will give practical, implementable tools that people can walk away with. And then the second thing is you're making it interactive. In other words, after they hear the talks or after they hear the panels, they can go to the table with a facilitator and discuss what they heard. And again, not right or wrong, not good or bad, but have a discussion of what they heard and how it might impact them. And if it impacts them, it impacts their organization. And if we have a positive impact on the organization, now we impact the communities around us and eventually maybe even have a more positive impact, who knows, on our cities or our nation. We talk about leadership from the perspective of influence. Okay. And I believe that for most of us, for all of us, there's four areas of influence. We can influence up, that's to our boss, our parents, our classroom teacher, our sports coach, but we can influence across, that's our coworkers, that's our next door neighbors. That's the people that we're around, but we're peers. We can influence, I hate to use this word, and you have to go through the whole training to understand it, but down, that's our children, that's our employees, the kids we might coach on a sports team. But one of the areas of influence that a lot of people forget about is the influence we have on ourselves. And what happens is when we start finding out that leadership is about influence, we start realizing we're all leaders. It's whether we're leading up, across, down, or changing ourselves. And when we know that it's about influence, here's the way I say it. We all have influence. We might as well make it a positive one. And so we can have negative influence as leaders or positive influence. And when people have the practical skill sets to have positive influence, now we're changing the world around us in a positive fashion as opposed into a negative fashion.
I love it. I think those are great things to think about, just all of the ways that we influence one another, ourselves, our community, and of course, I think being in the heart of it really is the heart of the city here. We are going to be on Capitol Hill. These are where the influencers are. So if people are drawn to even politics, leadership, influence, you want to be a part of this conference. There's going to be something again for everyone there. And I think it's like produces like in many times. So if you're around those influencers and you want to grow in your own personal influence, it's a perfect opportunity to do that. Again, as we talked about, just getting those takeaways, the practical implementation that you're going to get. And I think you need to be in a place often to experience something. And so it's really a day and a half, just very tight, compact. People will get an opportunity to see historical figures, even as well as we take a tour of the Capitol Rotunda and see about our founders. So it's just really, I think, a rich opportunity from founders to practical, influencers like yourselves. And many that are going to be there, even on as we are embarking on this business leadership panel, the NFL leadership panel, and again, these roundtables. So I do think it's going to be a great opportunity, and we want to encourage people to come. And I'm so grateful for that you're going to be a part of it all.
Yeah, me too, Kimberly. And one other thing that if the time permits, another big area that really helps people that I'm going to try to squeeze in that they both of these things now they're going to get tools to walk away with. They're going to, if they want to, they can watch videos. I mean, it's not like you have to catch it all right there in the speech. There's a way that they're going to have access to it later. But another one that I think really helps all those areas you just talked about is
Mhm.
having a clear vision, purpose, and mission statement for yourself as an individual, as well as for your business. And so we're going to show a tool of how to do that with clear objective strategies and action plans. And we call that VP MOSA. And so what we found in organizations that when people have a clear vision that everybody agrees on, pulling the same rope in the same direction, you can shift the culture of any organization with approximately 3 to 5% of your organization. But you got to get them on the same page. And when you add that with being able to resolve conflict, then these other 7 constraints that we talk about, they all start making sense on how to resolve them. So again, thank you for putting this on, because a lot of conferences, if you will, a lot of the speakers, and we want to be this too, so don't take this wrong, are highly motivational. They're highly inspirational, which is good. We all need that. But when you invite people like you've invited, that's going to give the practical, implementable ways to do it on top of the motivation, inspiration, and then an opportunity to talk about it. Now you got a system, a format that not only lets people hear it, that group discussion helps them remember it where they hear from other people. So love what you've got put together. Can't wait to be with you there, and just excited about what could happen with some of our government leaders as well as our business leaders if they all come in this room and do it together.
I'm excited as well. I can't wait. This has been an amazing opportunity to plan and pull together. Just check the website, alabasterhouse.org. That's where you can register, be a part. We don't want you to miss out on this. And you'll find the program is going to be continually updated as we're adding speakers, different members coming, and so forth. So check back, and that's a fabulous way to get connected with us. So Ford, thanks again for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you September 10th and 11th right there in the nation's capital.
Kimberly, thanks for having me on again. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. And thank you for what you do in between. The conference is one thing, but what you do in between is huge. So thank you for the lives you're impacting, what I call between the pages. When we do leadership training, we talk about it's what's between the pages are just as important as what's on the pages. And what's between your pages at the conference is even more important than just the conference itself. So thank you for being what you do between the pages.
Yeah, we have 25 years of working with elected leaders and their families, and we're going to be so just grateful to have them be a part of the summit and really introduce some special friends to those participants that come. So check it out. Can't wait to see you. I'm looking forward to it. Get connected and learn more by signing up for our email updates directly on our homepage, where you'll receive timely news and future invitations on Capitol Hill. Support our work building relationships with government leaders and their families by sponsoring an upcoming event or making a donation. To get connected or support, visit us online at alabasterhouse.org.